notice for this meeting?
Adequate notice of this meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act by mailing the schedule of this meeting to the Township community to the express times and forms started in newspaper. Posted with copy on the Township bulletin board and filed with copy on the Township. Please rise for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Perez.
Here.
Siegel. Here. Emiliani. Here. Valari.
Here.
Toriello.
Here. And now can I have a motion for the payment of bills and claims in the total amount of $307,858.74?
Make a motion.
Second. Roll call, please.
Perez.
Yes.
Siegel.
Yes.
Emiliani. Valari.
Yes.
Toriello.
Yes. And now can I have a motion for resolution 2012-85, which is a resolution authorizing a transfer of concurrent fund appropriations. This is a transfer from gasoline O&E to municipal clerk S&W in the total amount of $3,500.
Second.
Roll call.
Perez.
Yes.
Siegel.
Yes.
Emiliani. Laurie.
Yes.
Toriello.
Yes. And now for the first item on the agenda, I'm going to recuse myself. So I'm going to leave the room.
Same thing.
Okay. Before we have the first reading on ordinance 2012-18, I thought I'd just give just a brief explanation. This is to amend our existing indemnification defense ordinance. It contains a number of exceptions, one of which is where the legal proceeding is instigated or brought by the municipal official. And in reviewing the ordinances that we provide in other towns, we don't have that exception. And also, given the notice of court claims that have been filed this year with the township, I think it's in the best course to delete that exception and also to clarify the definition of municipal official, because as it's worded presently, there could be an argument that it doesn't even cover the township committee members, which is clearly not the intent of the ordinance in the first place. So the language would clear that up. We're just having a first reading tonight. If it passes on public hearing next month, what this would also mean is that Committeewoman Siegel's legal bill, which I think is the amount of close to $500, would be eligible for payment as reimbursement for her legal claims. So that's all I have on ordinance 2012-18.
With that, I'll need to ask for a motion for the first reading, correct?
Yes.
Can we answer questions first?
You would have, I would make the motion to introduce it, and then it's seconded, then you can have a discussion.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to introduce first reading of ordinance 2012-18.
It's entitled, "An Ordinance of the Township of Greenwich, County of Warren, the State of New Jersey, amending Defense and Indemnification Ordinance 2003-7 to delete an exception regarding legal proceedings instigated or brought by a municipal official, and to clarify that the definition of municipal official includes township committee members." We have a motion and a second, discussion.
Well, yeah, question is, and I know you said it covers the committee and stuff, but does it cover anyone else? Like say the police chief or what about employees?
Yes, it does. The definition of municipal official will read, municipal official shall mean any present or former officer, employee, board, or committee member appointed or hired by the municipal governing body, the mayor, or other authorized official of the municipality, whether full or part-time. And then the term will also include, as amended.
Is that something new, Chris? Is that a new person to the existing?
No, that's the, I'm still reading it. That's the first sentence of the definition of municipal official. The definition continues, the term shall also include any person elected by the voters to fill any official position in the municipality or any person subsequently appointed to fill such position that sentence will be amended to include any present or former township committee member.
Right.
So to answer committee member Perez's question, it covers all appointments and all employees hired by the municipal governing body.
Okay.
Unless there's something personal being done, which would be totally different.
Well, that's not in the definitional section, that's actually in the indemnification ordinance. The indemnification section 27.2 provides that this is arising, pursuant to their, duties in office or in the course of employment. It would only apply if they're acting in your official capacity.
If they were acting in their official capacity without any type of knowledge of any type of wrongdoing, right?
I'm sorry, Elaine, what?
Without any knowledge of any wrongdoing. If
Yeah, here, let me, yes,
this wouldn't cover that, would it?
let me just read the indemnification provision. We aren't changing this. This is on the books today.
Okay.
Upon compliance with and subject to the provisions of this section, the municipality shall reimburse a municipal official for all expenses incurred, specifically including reasonable attorney fees and court costs, and all monetary judgments imposed upon him in any action or legal proceeding of a non-criminal nature
That's
arising
what I
out
need to
of
hear, okay.
arising out of or incidental to the performance of the duties of the position or office held by such municipal official.
Non-criminal, okay.
Right? And then the municipality will also indemnify a municipal official for exemplary or punitive damages resulting from the municipal official's civil violation of state or federal law if, in the opinion of the municipal governing body, the acts committed by the municipal official upon which the damages are based did not constitute actual fraud, actual malice, willful misconduct, or intentional wrong. We aren't changing that. That's been
That's
on
what I
your.
want to hear, you're not changing that.
That's not.
Okay.
No, that's
That's
not
fine.
being changed.
So we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
No, the motion's already been made, it's been
Motion seconded.
Second, okay.
All right, roll call. Perez,
Yes.
Siegels abstained or recused. Miliani,
Yes.
Laurie,
Yes.
and Toriello is recused also.
Okay, thank you.
Make a return.
Yeah, they have to return.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is ready to go, Brent, the next item on the agenda, because I haven't had a chance this.
The next item on the agenda, I would recommend we table until after we have a closed session discussing it.
Okay. All right, so that brings us to discussion regarding DPW cleanup. Dan, this is an item that you requested be placed on this agenda.
Okay, well, right. We had a discussion with John and Joe about the cleanup, and there were some issues that were raised, such as the chipper that you guys have is not really geared for like real heavy-duty service, according to John. One of the other things we were concerned about was the placement of a lot of branches and limbs and stuff that were not damaged by the storm, putting more burden on the chipper, and people maybe coming from from other places to put their stuff out there. So we had discussed that maybe another way to go about it was if we did this was a permit. Was go to a permit system to make sure that the people turning in the branches were, legal township residents. So a couple of things to discuss.
Well, and I talked with John. John and I spoke yesterday, actually, and I know, and I don't know why I didn't remember this the last time we were talking about this, but a couple of things. When we actually did this cleanup for one of the storms, as Dan said, people brought other things out there. It wasn't just the trees that were broken from the storm and so forth. We had neighbors that had real issues with the fact that we were doing cleanup after we said we weren't going to. Some paid to have it removed, and others now get free pickup. We're, I think, in the same situation this time because most of this stuff is cleaned up. Most of it's cleaned up. So you have people that paid to have stuff cut down, taken away, and now we're going to go out and handle things free for residents who didn't act right away. Besides the equipment, and, you know, we have a 3-person DPW department. So I think we are setting a very bad precedent in doing it this time. So to be honest with you, when I'm rethinking this, I would not vote in favor of it.
Well, see, here's the problem that I have from my perspective. We already voted on it, already posted it on our Facebook page. There are a lot of people, and if you drive around town, you can see the branches brought out to the road, ready to be chipped and taken apart. With respect to many of the issues that were raised tonight, they were all part of our deliberations when we voted 5-0. Michael Finelli was the one who raised the issue about the fact that the chipper could only handle a certain size. And we said, okay, well, whatever the size is, you take what it can chip, and what it can't take, you leave it. And at least there's an explanation. If somebody says, why did you take part of the branches and you didn't take the other part, there's a very simple, lucid answer, because it doesn't fit in the chipper and it can't handle it. And I agree with you in terms of setting precedents or examples, and we do have a prior history of not going out. But this is a once in 100-year storm. This is something that New Jersey has never seen and probably won't see for another 100 years, God willing. But I could tell you that there are multiple postings on the Facebook as well as emails that I received to my account saying, you've already said that you were going to get out there. It's a week already. Where the heck are you? We put the stuff on the street, and to the extent that people have already procured private means and they pay themselves, that's a voluntary choice. And to the extent that someone has undertaken that unilateral decision, if you will, to not wait and to do it, that's their prerogative. But I don't think that ameliorates our obligation to go out there and clean up after this storm. And I do agree that I don't think that this should be something that we do as a matter of course. But I want to say I'm troubled that this township committee, by a 5-0 vote, undertook an action at the last meeting, which was when? When was our last meeting?
About 2 weeks ago, it was 2 weeks Thursday.
Okay, and we're sitting here 2 weeks later, and our DPW department has not undertaken what it's been required to do by this township committee. And I hate to comment on rumors, but it's been told to me, and this is something, Tanya, I don't know if in your conversations with John you've had or not, but it's been conveyed back to me that residents had called John after the township committee meeting, and he said, we're not going out. And he was making a decision for his own, which I don't know if it's true or not. I hope it's not true. If it
I
is,
don't know if it's true.
I'm troubled by
I
that.
don't know if it's true or not, but I know Kim and I were going to, we had the meeting Thursday, John was on vacation Friday, and I had a conversation with Kim, and I said, I am not gonna call John on vacation to have this conversation. I'm not gonna ruin his weekend. That's what I said to you, right,
Fair
Kim?
enough.
And we were gonna get with him on Monday, and then something happened, I forget what it was. Something happened on Monday, I'm sorry.
Dan
but-
was here on Friday, and we talked with Joe, and then we were talking with him about maybe an on-site chipping or something,
Right.
and then the permits, and then when it's snow, we pulled off, and asked Joe, this, on the agenda to be further discussed this meeting.
Yeah, the only reason why we're really bringing it up now, Joe, was because of the conversation that we had with Joe and with John. And that's the only reason why it's really coming up. I still feel we should do, what we said we were gonna do. But I think maybe for the future, what we should look to do is before we make decisions like that, maybe we should have the people involved with us to discuss it so that they could bring out, the counterpoints to what we're bringing up.
Agreed, but see, we took the input from our township engineer, so we did not make a
can chat about it a
decision.
lot.
Yeah,
I mean,
we didn't make a
discuss it.
decision
Yeah.
without professional input, but, so I just want that to be clear.
But in
And-
all, I'm sorry, John, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
but so the issue, for example, like the chipper size could only handle, a certain amount. Understood, but, no one imparted to the DPW department an expectation
that you have to remove all limbs. You know, remove what you can, but at least if we're getting a phone call from a particular resident, why didn't you remove my, you know, then I could say, I don't know, we'll look into it. I could call Joe and we could have a conversation. Joe could say, I went to 14 Alden, and the reason we didn't remove it is it wouldn't fit in the chipper. Then at least there's information. But, you know, the problem is, after we took action, the information was communicated to the residents, and they're getting tired of waiting. I think rightfully so. We need to move on this to do what we can, whatever we can. And we should be removing what we can remove, and what we can't remove, we don't remove.
Well, why don't we, yeah, ask, I mean, Joe's DPW, so why don't we
He's
ask
talking,
what?
he wants to talk with the coordinator.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I just want to make a quick comment, you know, 'cause your point's valid, Tanya, in the last storm that we had, because I was on the bad receiving end of the homeowner who lost both his trees. They fell in the street, and I called right away, and there was no answer, and somebody said, no, we're not doing it, no, we are. And I had to clear it up out of my yard, because it was blocking the sidewalk, it was a legal liability, so I paid $400 to have my 2 trees chopped up, while I watched a decision being made 2 weeks subsequent to the storm later, the gap of time was long, I recall, to say, all right, we're gonna clean it up now. And I was like, well, wait, what about me? You know, where's my $400? Meanwhile, I watched all my neighbors get their stuff taken away for free while I was out $400. So this decision, on the other hand, was made in a timely manner. It was made with the best resource that we had at the time to discuss the capacity of the chipper and whatnot. And we acted fairly swiftly in the sense of urgency. I don't think it was that far.
What was our meeting?
Well,
I mean,
and you know what, just to go to that point, there was a resident who had posted on Facebook prior to the meeting, and I thought really unfairly criticizing the township committee, basically saying, it's been 7 days since the storm, where are you doing this? And that, to me, that's our job to communicate, and it's just a lack of understanding of local governance 101, that we have something called the sunshine law, and you have to provide notice, and we can't undertake these actions without a township meeting. So leading up to our meeting 2 weeks ago, in my opinion, any criticism that was directed towards this township committee, I think was completely unfounded and unwarranted, because we acted in the swiftest possible legal manner in terms of undertaking a decision and action when we were gathered in accordance with, you know, the law. But between 2 weeks ago and today, where I see criticism, I have to say for the record, it's legitimate, because we made a decision, we made an informed decision based upon the input from a township professional, and for whatever reason, 14 days has gone by and there's been no implementation of that vote, and I think that's what needs to be corrected right away.
Just to your point as well, is that, yes, I mean, you did have a subsequent conversation with DPW after the vote was taken, but going forward, when I look to the future, you know what? We're not all professionals here in handling these monster storms. It's not like we have a wealth of experience across the boards here of knowing exactly what to do, how to roll it out, how to communicate it. It's a learning process. And what we can do is we debrief it, we say what went well, what didn't go well, and for everything that didn't go well, you have to do different, and that's how we proceed as a committee and as a township and everybody underneath, you know, underneath. So your point's valid, saying, you know what, maybe we should have got the guys involved who actually do this stuff to really say, hey, can we do it, can't we do it? You know what? They weren't afforded to us. You know what? Either that, or we make every township meeting mandatory for every supervisor of every head of every department. So that we have a wealth of knowledge at our fingertips to make those decisions.
Outsourcing that along with any other job and seeing if somebody can come in at a better rate. And figuring out whether or not, you know, it behooves the township to start looking outside of what we currently have at our hands.
So you know what I'm saying? You're asking for making sure we have the proper professionals here to make those decisions.
Exactly.
Then bring them all here.
And we
It's
should
mandatory every meeting that the head of DPW, the head of fire, the head of police, the head of EMS, and the head of emergency management are sitting in this meeting every meeting.
Well, I
So
mean,
we always
yeah,
have that
they have
well.
access to
No,
their
that's
cell
what I'm
phones.
saying.
I
Is
mean,
when we,
that's
you know, we're going to
Yeah.
dial in the middle of a
I mean, to
meeting.
make it mandatory.
No, I'm just saying is that
Yeah.
he's asking for the professionals to be here to make sure we have a wealth of knowledge to ping them, and we should have it.
That's not really what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we could talk about something, look to make a decision, but we should you know, at
So
the very least,
delaying the decision helps the residents.
the following day at least, try to contact the people that were talking, the problems we're talking about, and talk to those guys that would have more knowledge than we do, you know.
And ask them if they
Instead
wanted
of waiting
to work.
2 weeks or something like that, you know, coming up with this now.
Or we could probably call them the night of the meeting and ask questions if we needed clarification.
But you didn't want to call him on his vacation.
Yeah, but you know, but setting that aside, there's been nothing that we've discussed here tonight that changes the decision we made. The only
No.
issue that's been raised is the size of the chipper. That was discussed and taken into consideration when we voted. So I actually have to say that in looking back on it, we didn't do anything wrong, and there's no information that we're getting tonight that we can say, oh my God, we didn't consider that. Had we known, it would have been a different vote. I mean, we're discussing the same thing, the same issue that Michael Finelli brought up, saying, guys, the chipper can only handle a certain dimension of a tree. We said, okay, we have the chipper, we have a DPW department, the taxpayer dollars are paying for the chipper and for the DPW. We're not in grass season cutting grass, so it's perfectly appropriate
Well, I
to go
think-
out now and to do that.
I mean, I
So-
think we were doing grass up until just recently, weren't we, Joe?
Yeah,
Just like a
storm-
week ago?
Storm. Joe
We were cutting grass up until a week ago.
finished up that week.
Yeah,
We-
yeah. I just mowed my grass last week, Elaine.
That's also strange.
No, it's not strange, it's just cleaning up leaves
Well,
and grass.
In any event, I think what we need to do now is to I'm sorry, Joe.
No, just a couple things. OEM wise, there's a procedure. I don't know if the township committee is wishing to get reimbursed for this service that you're going to provide. Because there is a procedure, there's monitoring, measuring the cubic yards that we take in and the final product of what it is, and also a temporary dump site, getting the DEP involved. If you're gonna be, if you wanna proceed or pursue FEMA reimbursement.
But that's
I've learned this through
That I sent you.
what I've been in touch with here over the last few
Is that the
weeks.
75%, Tom?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a 75-25%. And even on, there's contractors out there and stuff will do that, and they went around and did an estimate, and there's only about 100 cubic yards of stuff out there. They want to get involved with thousands of cubic yards. So it's just a hauling fee and getting rid of it. So, you know, that there's not the question, but the question is, if we even do it ourselves, and you want to pursue FEMA funds, it has to be monitored by someone independent, and it all has to be calculated, and you have to follow their steps.
You calculate the manpower hours expended plus the hauling plus.
And plus
miscellaneous
monitored,
fees, right?
still monitored by an
When you
independent,
say independent, who is independent? Anybody?
either the town engineer or someone of that sort, because of.
Not by
and
OEM?
the point was brought to me was, we live, us as DPW, live in the town. They only want storm debris
Right.
that FEMA's gonna pay for, all right? So that's the issue there, is it's only storm debris. And that was the thing that FEMA, they don't want somebody to clear their land, clear their lot
Of course.
of all the old trees and that there. That was the issue. But if you want to do this as a service and not pursue the FEMA funds for reimbursement,
Right.
then that's, of course, going to be the town's purse or whatever the township's decision on that.
The only concern that I have, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, does the engineer, if you had the engineer following you, does he get reimbursed also through FEMA, or is that something the township?
75%.
Okay.
It's a fee.
All right.
That's still the figure as the monitor. That's still right now, and that's what I heard. And I also had a meeting Thursday morning with a FEMA representative for the public end, for and I know the DPW was out the next morning opening roads and stuff like that, which I'm sure will be covered. Fire department wise, I don't know what's gonna be covered, because there's a lot of sparking and arcing wires and creating safety boundaries. I don't know what they're gonna reimburse there, because we didn't use, like in Irene, our pumps and stuff like that and evacuating water. I'm gonna talk with him and, and find out.
Joe, do you have any idea of how much stuff is out there at this point? Is there a lot,
I
or is it a handful?
I haven't taken a survey, I don't know. There is some areas where you see that the branches have been there, even before the decision was made by the township committee that some people had them stacked out there. But to go around and do an evaluation right now, I haven't done that yet.
Because Greenwich Chase, I mean, I haven't been completed the whole development, but I think most of the stuff's cleaned up.
There's some stacked on the road, the first entrance to the development, the first
Green-
right.
Washington Valley?
To Wyndham
No,
Farms.
no,
yes.
Oh,
oh,
Wyndham
Wyndham Farms,
yes.
Wyndham Farms, yeah,
Oh.
there's all along there.
Yeah.
There's.
There's a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah, there is. I guess my question to you is this, Joe, if we were to pursue the big, when I hear DEP and FEMA, I'm getting visions that it's gonna be Valentine's Day before we can get this done. I mean,
No,
is this
no,
something
they're
that
actually
you-
pretty
they're
swift.
expediting,
They're actually
they're
very quickly.
expediting, and it would be rather quick. As a matter of fact, I got an email and there was an application and all it needs, if it's storm cleanup, sent up to the county OEM, they sign off on it, and we send it down, and it's all good to go.
Well, I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer to go ahead and do that, since it's really, the cost of this is already borne out by the taxpayer in terms of the salaries. We already have the chipper, so it's not like we have to expend an unanticipated amount in order to get the 75%. We would just get back whatever we get back. So I would say, yeah, go ahead and do it. It's not like one of those matching grants where in order to get the money, you gotta
It's a
spend
pay,
money.
right.
We're spending what we're spending.
We're
They're
letting
gonna,
go for it.
give us 75% back. I say, thank you and go, God bless and go ahead and do that. And I think what we can do then is, if you're meeting on Thursday, we can post on the township webpage and I can post on Facebook account that we will begin, you tell me next week or whatever, we will begin removal. We will make one pass only. We're not gonna go back if people miss it, miss the window, they miss the window.
Well, I can get the information.
Get your
from-
stuff out now, and it's
from
only
FEMA.
storm related.
And John will have to, because John schedules to work. So once I know what the deal is and who we can get to monitor, if it's the engineer's office and stuff, and want to pursue that way. Like I said,
I think as long as it's
leave
days.
John know to schedule the work.
Yeah, I think as long as it's days and not weeks. I mean, I just don't
Yeah.
want to see this till after Christmas. I
yeah.
mean, we have to get this, we have to get going on it.
And a big variable will be snow. Right
And that-
now,
right, and that's
if
the
that
other reason
stuff
why-
gets buried, it's buried till spring.
Right, and that's why I think we
Winter
need
does
to
take
move
hold.
on. And so that's why, if FEMA, we can get it done in days and not weeks, I'm for that.
It all depends on how much comes out after more notification.
Joe, is
That'll be-
the supervision while you're going around or supervising what's been taken in, like verifying what you've
Both.
collected? Both.
According to what I was explaining, talking to this contractor, somebody following the truck, see what's taken in, and then at the final site, once it's chipped and done. And then it's, of course, with the temporary DEP site, which we figured Stecker Park that we would do, it'll be there for the residents to come if they want wood chips for
Whatever.
mulching, whatever they
Right.
need, it's to their disposal.
Right.
Use in the parks or on our park and stuff like that.
I just want to, when we move on from this item, I want to make sure that there's no
There's an
further
action item,
ambiguity
right.
and there's an action item and we're done. I mean,
Somebody else.
I think what we need to do is this. Today is the 27th, right? Because how many days do you think, can you estimate how long this is going to take to drive through the town?
And that's gonna be
Roughly.
on the stuff. We could be in a development for a day. Like I said, I don't know what's out there.
I mean, do you
what
think
we're
14
notified.
days to go through the town is a realistic number? Or you think?
It could be a realistic number, like I said, but like I said, and the variable's gonna be is the amount of stuff. What comes
So
out.
you're meeting on Thursday?
I'm meeting Thursday morning with FEMA, yes.
Okay, so why don't we say, can we say that not later than December 5th?
we're gonna start, the removal process.
Is that Wednesday? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's just say,
That's
Yeah.
not my decision, that has to go through John as the DPW.
well, I think we'll make it clear, I mean, that it's just, we gotta be
I'll
out on
just
the road
make
on
sure-
on the 5th.
I'll just make sure what we need to do on the OEM lines to
Right.
keep track of.
And if there's a delay or whatever, I think we just need to provide a closure for the residents in terms of, you know, that we're doing this. So why don't we just say the 5th, okay? Everybody okay with that?
And then how long is it gonna, I mean, is it, are they?
Until it's completed.
One sweep?
Well, one sweep. Yeah, yeah.
So they need to have, residents need to have their trees out by December 5th?
Yep,
Okay. And then you want me to advertise this on the website?
yep, and I'll post it on Facebook. I'll take care of the electronic stuff. I'll
Do
communicate
you
with
want a
Dave.
notice in the paper?
Yeah, why not? That's a
And
good
Kim,
idea.
and Kim, don't we need to specify that you can't handle more than, I mean.
Yes, I
because
have.
we're
What's the
size.
diameter?
So,
I
because
just
people,
Yeah, I was making
people
sure
put
that
their
it's
stuff
gonna
out
be-
there
that's a
and it's
good
too
idea.
big to go through the chip,
Yes.
but they're gonna get off.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Mike has
what-
said 5-foot lengths, but he didn't give me a diameter yet.
I thought he
Long.
said.
You know, you and I will follow up
Okay.
afterwards. We'll get that together. It's a good point. We'll get that in there as well. All right. Any other matters on that? All right. With that said, can I have a motion to go into executive session to discuss contract negotiations regarding shared services agreement?
Do you want to go into public comment first before you do?
See how
I know it's not-
public comment is under it?
Oh,
We gotta
okay.
reverse it.
Okay.
Because usually we do executive.
Motion to go into public comment?
Are we gonna have a second public comment?
No.
When we come out? My preference would be to wait until we come out.
All right.
Okay. I just,
I'll make the motion.
Wait. What's the motion right now? The
Motion to go into executive session to discuss contract negotiations regarding shared services agreement.
Okay, that's the motion.
Elaine made it.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.